capital of the Confederacy. So this is about Richmond.
Okay.
The ill breath of my city is like the cold wind on my face as I pace these streets, and I nod to inaudible but ancient beats, and hear the screams of anguish from vanquished people slain in these streets, the memories of things I've seen but can't repeat. We still face this wind, and some even embrace this wind. They chase this wind just to taste it. Even though it's laced with sin, they walk the cobblestone streets with their heads held high under the stone cold stare of Robert Lee's eyes like Confederate spies. They say, hey, look at us. We've come so far. We're so post-racial. We're so postmodern. Those scars aren't ours. We stand for freedom with our hands over our hearts, waving to the stars and bars, and I ain't buying it. Sometimes I want to say, fuck that flag, I ain't flying it. When all I hear is sirens in the distance, sometimes I feel like the sirens are defining our existence. And every time I hear a siren, someone's dying from their ignorance. It's like we're blind and need assistance. But not me. I stay woke, and I'm wired for resistance. You see, this wind is on a mission, and it was vividly written on the epitaph that bore the ghost of my city's past. Shackled Bottom was a slave burial ground. Now it's the Richmond City Jail, where the misery lasts. This is where we were born in sin. And then we were born again and again and again and again, bathed in the blood of the battlefields where the wind began, where the founders fed some and left others with the empty hands, shackled feet and shackled minds. And now we can't press delete and unravel what's been left behind, that anger, stress, and pain repressed. 400 years that we can't forget, that ancient text that can't be described by the English language yet. And that's the realness. You see, my city's history makes me physically feel this. When the wind hits my grill, I inhale the illness. This is now the illness of the children. The same illness as the children's burial ground under the buildings, crumbling foundations got me carrying around all of these feelings. The same illness that plowed into the crowd of protesters, and now Heather Heyer is in a higher place. Girl, rest in peace. These fascists must be tripping. You can't erase a race. Same illness as Sandra Bland's arrestor. She died in the solitary cell where they left her. This illness is the resistance. This is the residue of the past that we never knew, that we say we want to get past, but we never do. And it breathes. It's perpetual. It spreads disease and disease which my city breathes. That's why we're in front of City Hall screaming, I can't breathe. While we're walking the streets with no sleep, screaming, no justice, no peace. As the world spins backwards, westward winds blow east and come full circle on a colonial beach where the gifts were delivered from the ships where the gift givers slithered and their human dignity withered. They said, this was it.
This call is from a federal prison.
Well, I say define right. Because the right of humans to pursue freedom is what defines life. And now those ships with their windswept existence have brought this light-skinned Mediterranean descendant to the penitentiary, still waiting for deliverance from fake kings like Ferdinand or fake kings like Trump and fake kings that treat their subjects like playthings and daydreams and send the detectives chasing casings to put handcuffs on late teens. Am I penetrating your fortress? Am I eliminating the distortions, erasing places in your brain that have been chasing a portrait of white fear? Well, I'm right here, but I'm light years beyond. There's still sightseeing, but the light's barely on Monument Avenue where the passerby's passing through, looking at the eyes of the statue. Well, I don't see justice. They ask us why we want to see the monuments crumble. I say, Robert Lee, look what's going on right up under you. 10 blocks away, look what's going on in the jungle, or look what's going on right in front of you. It makes me want to burn my city down again. burn that slave trading post to the ground again. I'll burn it all till the establishment crashes and the past is only ashes found in wind.